What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about a very powerful subject, I would say. Just because everyone experiences it in their life, no matter what they do for their careers, where they go in life, or who they are. It always affects all of us, unfortunately. Um, got Apollo in here with me today. Parley's locked out of the room because he's got some stomach issues going on, so we don't want to hear that. He's outside the door, but he's with us in spirit. So without further ado, we can get started because we got a good amount of questions to go over. So, the first time I experienced betrayal and how I felt. Just a rundown. If you haven't watched any of my other videos, first, well, there was more times than not before this incident that I was betrayed, but this one sticks out because it changed the path of who I was at that moment, and it made me somebody that I never thought I could be. But I had just got home from deployment literally that day, and it was my birthday, November 16th, 2019. It was my birthday. We just got home, and I found out I was being cheated on. And the betrayal that I felt was immaculate, to say the least. I never thought I could feel that level of betrayal, and just knowing I was being led on, lied to, it was a very, very hard pill for me to swallow, especially with the mindset that I was in at that moment, and just ready to be home and ready to have my loved ones welcome me with open arms. Instead, I got welcomed with slap in the face. This is your reality now, and this is what you got to do about it. How did it change me? Honestly, I remember that night like it was yesterday, but it's starting to become a blur, really. It changed me. It lit a fire inside of me that it's very unexplainable unless you which I hope no one ever has to feel what I felt that night, but it changed me because I had trusted everyone in my life that didn't give me a reason to not trust them. Sort of like, because now, like, I don't trust anybody in my life. Like, I trust a very select few, but back then I started out, yeah, you're a clean slate, you're just walking into my life, you get trust. Now, you have to earn that shit with me. It's not handed out anymore from me because of it. And it's very easily revoked in my eyes for the slightest things. It just changed me in ways that, like I said, it's just hard to explain if you haven't been there and done that, and particularly been in the military and experienced Jody and all those things. But it changed me for the worse, I will say that. I was already at rock bottom, and it sent me straight to hell. Like, I immediately just wanted to unalive myself. I wanted it to be a dream and not wake up. What was supposed to be not the happiest day, but one of the best days, because I came home, turned into my worst day. one of my worst days ever. And expecting to come home to a relationship and family, I didn't get any of that really. I didn't get any of that at all. What emotion hit you the hardest? Anger, sadness, or disbelief? I think honestly it was disbelief, but I can't even say that because deep down I knew, something in me knew that it was happening, honestly. But I mean, I went through a wave of emotions. It was mainly disbelief and a lot of anger because I couldn't do anything about it. There was no way, shape, or form that I could do anything about it. Because one, I was physically still 7 hours away, didn't have a car, nothing. Um, and I just, I sort of just sitting there, stuck, having to let this all play out in my head. Did you see betrayal coming or catch you off guard? Again, kind of already answered that in that question. I, in ways, saw it coming, and then in other ways, I chose to sort of ignore it, so it caught me off guard, of course. I didn't expect to. It caught me off guard because I didn't expect for it to happen that day when I'm just decompressing from getting home and having to deal with this new reality that I wasn't prepared to face. So I saw it coming, but it caught me off guard because of when and how it happened and how that other person reacted. And it was just a very big slap in the face, and I felt very disrespected. Um, um, very, very disrespected. Um, it knocked me down off of my high of being home very quickly. How did it affect your ability to trust again? I didn't trust for the longest time after I got betrayed. I don't think anyone fully trusts right after being betrayed. Um, my full ability to trust again didn't come we'll say, for this person, it didn't come until truly years later. I'd say about 5 years after is when I fully trusted that person again that hurt me. Which, for clarification, I got cheated on, but I'm in the same relationship now because I chose to forgive her, which was a very, very long road, 5 years, like I said. And so see, 5 years, be 2024. Yeah, it took about 5 years to fully trust again without having those thoughts in front of my ability to trust on whether she's betraying me. Like, what is she doing? Like, every time the phone would light up, So, yeah, it's being able to trust again after betrayal is takes a long, hard process. It doesn't happen overnight for sure. Looking back, do you think there were red flags you ignored? Absolutely. I absolutely ignored the red flags, mainly because I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe that it could be a reality, that it could happen to me, even though I knew that there was a very big possibility that it would, just because I was prepared for that. Being in the military, and like, oh, Jody's gonna get your girl, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that's not out of the question. I know being lonely is hard. She was still in high school at the time, so I knew it was bound to happen, and I knew the red flags were right in front of my face, and so I just chose to ignore them, for sure, because I didn't want to believe it. Is betrayal worse from partners, family, or friends? I think each has their own category, I guess you could say. Um, I think for sure, like, being betrayed by your friends, that's one thing, I'm like, you betrayed me, whatever, F you, get out of my life. Being betrayed by family, it's hard, it's a step above accepting that. Um, but at the end of the day, you sort of know that you're still stuck with them in ways like, you can't abandon family. Like, you can remove yourself from that situation, but at the end of the day, they're always going to be your family. So that's a whole nother thing as well. Being betrayed by your partner is at the top of the list of hurt. I say, in my own personal experiences, just because you give your heart and soul to your partner, you you give it to them, trusting that they will take care of it, and they will never betray you, they will never leave you, they will never hurt you, things like that. And you believe it, like, you put all this trust in this one person, and you believe it. You believe that nothing can ever happen to you with this person. And when it does, the betrayal is so hurtful. Just, it can take a fully healthy, emotionally healthy, spiritually healthy person and knock them to their knees and shatter them into a million pieces. Take that, but take a person that's already at the weakest and lowest point of their life and do that to them, and you've essentially taken those shattered pieces of that person and grounded them up and blew them back in their face, pretty much. That's the best representation that I can say that was given to me, that I felt. I was already a broken person, and the betrayal of this sort of just like, hey, I'm gonna take your broken pieces, I'm gonna ground them up. By the way, there you go, back in your face. Which was very hard because you feel sort of like you are essentially being disrespected by the one person that you love the most and you trust the most and you've given everything to. How do you decide who gets a second chance? I don't think you really decide. People's actions decide for you in some cases. In my cases, or in my case, it did. Um, like in the height of the hurt, like while it was happening, like aside from the anger, sadness, and betrayal, and lost trust, I deep down I knew I was gonna trust this, or I was gonna forgive this person again. I wasn't trusting that person wasn't exactly in the picture at that moment, but I knew deep down that I was going to possibly forgive this person and give them a second chance, which in my case, I it should have been her that was begging me to leave or to come back, but I was so broken and so vulnerable that I was just sort of stuck, like kind of begging her not to do this anymore and forgive yourself and stay with me, because I was just so vulnerable. I was so alone, and all I wanted was just to be loved. So I believe that the person that betrays you's actions tell you whether they get a second chance or not. Um, and it's all about time, really. Time and actions is how you decide, which I didn't do. I just automatically was like, okay, well, this hurts a lot, but no matter how much you hurt me, I guess I'm still gonna have you in my life because I want you. You know, I might have been like dumb, just my dumb, lonely mind talking to me, but I knew that that's what was gonna happen, and it did. It did. Why do you think others betray? Self-preservation, greed, or fear? I think in my case, and in her case, it was self-preservation for sure. I wouldn't say it was greed or fear. I'd say it was self-preservation. Um, she didn't tell me at the time, but later on, it's at first whenever I found out, it sounded more like an excuse, and I was like, well, I was lonely too, which her reasoning was, oh, well, I was lonely, I needed somebody, when you weren't there. And my rebuttal to that was like, well, I'm off fighting for this country. I'm off in another time zone halfway around the world. Like, I don't have a choice. Like, I didn't ask, but I did ask, you know. So her reasoning was, like she was lonely and um, just self-preservation, which I would have to get her perspective more on that, but I believe it was more self-preservation drawn. How does betrayal shape identity? How does betrayal shape your identity or worldview? Betrayal shaped my identity by shutting me down to the world. Shutting down to everybody. Like I said, I didn't trust anybody. My identity was what the guy she was cheating on me with, his identity, which was, you're a sorry piece of shit, and you can't do anything about it, and I've got what you want now. And I let that be my identity for the longest time. Like, I was no good. I was the littlest person in the world. I felt like it. I didn't deserve respect. And I let that shape who I was for a very long time, until recently, honestly. Until I found my own identity away from betrayal. Because I'll be betrayed again. I know it. And I can't let who I'm already shaped to be, which is the smallest person in the world, whenever that betrayal does happen again. Because it won't benefit me in the long run. My worldview, again, nobody's trustworthy, which is a very toxic way to think, but it's my way of self-preservation, which is a very toxic way. That everyone will betray you at one point in your life, no matter how close they are or who they are to you. Does forgiveness mean forgetting, or is it just letting go of the pain? Forgiveness definitely doesn't mean forgetting. I have forgiven her, but I have not, and I will not forget the feelings that it invoked, the person that it made me to be, the things that it made me do, and the thoughts that it made me think. Like, I will never forget any of that until the day that I die. Is it letting go of the pain? Forgiveness, letting go of the pain? No, I don't believe so either, because the pain is still there, and it doesn't hurt me as much now because I have forgiven her. It's just sort of healed the pain a little bit, not letting it go. Letting pain go is not forgiving. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna let it go. Yeah, I guess I'll forgive you. That's not forgiveness in my eyes. So forgiveness is not forgetting, and it's not letting go of the pain in my mind. All right, last one. This one is the reason why I found out. If it wasn't for social media, I probably would have never found out. How has social media changed the way betrayal happens, or is it exposed? It's definitely exposed. Whether you think you're being the most secretive while still posting online, thinking that nobody will see it, there's somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows me that will see it, and it'll get back to that person. For sure. That's exactly how it happened. Like, my friend was his friend on Snapchat. He posted a picture of my wife. Probably didn't think that nobody would think anything of it. My friend was like, "Are you guys still together?" I'm like, yeah, we're still together as far as I know. And of course, it got back to me, and that's how I found out. Asked if it was true, had no answer, and that was my answer. So it definitely exposes betrayal 110% now. I feel bad for all the people that were in the Gulf War and, just in the military before social media and phones were a thing, because I guarantee there's probably about 90% that never found out. 90% stretching it, but there's a very good percentage of people that didn't find out that they were being betrayed. Betrayal is it's a very hard lesson that we all have to learn and go through and experience to be able to face it with triumph the next time that we do face betrayal. It made me weak in that moment. It made me weak for a very long time. But because of it, I eventually grew a bigger self-worth. I knew this isn't who I was. I wasn't the smallest person in the world. I did um, I did deserve respect. I was worthy of respect, and I am a person that deserves respect. Um, some 18-year-old boy, doesn't dictate on how my worth is going forward in the rest of my life. And that's the biggest thing that it's taught me out of everything. Um, so, if anyone is being betrayed, anyone finds out that they're being betrayed, it may hurt, but there's always a lesson at the end of the tunnel. Well, I had to go through it, believe me. It was a 5-6 year battle to find myself again after that. Hope you guys like it. I'm trying to keep the episodes a little bit shorter just because it's easier for me to upload and all that good stuff. And it's just a little bit easier for people to listen to. So, I hope you guys like it. Remember, this is raw, real, and unedited unless there's one of the dog's farts or something like that. Then I'm going to be editing that out because I don't want you guys thinking it's me. So, if you have any suggestions, any stories that you want to give me, put them in the comments below. Till then, see you guys on the next one. Peace.